Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another GDoc Talk. My name is Ryan A. Moore. Joining me on this is, like always, this guy is here, ladies and gentlemen, Jay Kent-Redeem.
And Pixel. Because you haven't yet introduced him yet.
Yes,
so
I did in one of the
Not
early
today.
episodes. Not to. Okay.
And I'm here too.
Yeah, in the hot
Oh
seat.
yeah, that's okay.
Rob Brower.
Hey.
Pastor
Okay.
Rob.
Hey, Pixel.
Yeah. Whoa. Almost exited out of the stopwatch here. So, Kent,
Yes.
what's your topic?
Topic, because it's a hot one right now too. Because what's going on in Missouri, and from an article I read, which I won't go into explanation.
Yeah, we'll just link the article.
Yes.
So,
Which is a good read, honestly.
Just
so,
sum
yes.
it up in like 30
Sum it
seconds.
up fast as I can. Is this guy is talking about, he was told, hey, the greatest thing that was ever given to you was being born was the color of your skin, which for him was white, saying that gave him an edge. Being white gives us an edge on life. You have a less tendency probably to be shot because by the cops, and less tendency to possibly even get arrested compared to other, races. So the question is, it comes down to is racism, I guess is the topic.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good topic.
So I know that's kind of, and, you're our first non-white person on this show.
Out of the 4 that we've had.
What? Why didn't anybody tell me?
So it's like, I thought this would be it's a good time to, hey, what was it like? Kind of things like, did you have to feel like you're pushing through life to get an edge? Like, or did you feel like, wasn't that bad? That's kind of the question, the topic, anyway.
Well, my question would be, is it racist to talk about racism when you have the non-Caucasian guy on the show? I mean, it's such a hot topic.
Good point.
And I feel like, we have a lot of terms out there like reverse racism.
Mm-hmm.
And let's face it, racism is racism. Prejudice is prejudice. We're all prejudiced.
Mm-hmm.
To answer your question, did I experience racism growing up? Do I feel like I have to push through that? Yeah. I felt like growing up that, I'm half Korean, half black. Growing up in Korea, I wasn't Korean enough for the Korean kids to accept me as one of them. And then when we moved to Tacoma, I wasn't black enough for the black kids to accept me as one of them. So I was just an outcast. And then every time I filled out a form, especially growing up in an Air Force family, we always had forms we had to fill out. It asks for ethnicity. And if you're not black, Caucasian, Asian, or Pacific Islander, or Hispanic, you had to mark other. And some forms didn't even have other. I had to like draw a box and write other on there myself just so I could mark myself as other. And I kind of got tired of being other, if you know what I mean. And it did make me question like my identity, like who am I, and why is it important? But I think there's a lot of racism out there, and it's coming from both ends. I mean, let me ask you guys this: if you go out up to Tacoma, Bird Park is a place where we shoot a lot of hoops out there, and you go out there, it's going to be predominantly a bunch of black guys shooting hoops. And you walk up there, and either one of you say, "Hey guys, can I join you?" Is it fair that they're going to look at you and say, "There's no way you're as good as us," and they're only basing that on your physical appearance, and it has nothing to do with being chunky or short or whatever. It's going to be based on the color of your skin.
Yeah.
And so when we were playing hoops, there were a lot of white guys that were way better than me. I actually kind of suck at hoops, but yet they would pick me before, and I'd be like, "Sorry guys, should pick that guy because I know he plays high school ball. I suck."
So would I be racist if I said that was the Korean side of you coming out of the basketball?
It kind of is. That's what I say. Maybe
All
I'm
right.
racist. No, it's tough, but I'm curious to know, like, do you guys ever feel the only way that when I think of like reverse racism, do you ever feel like you've gotten a hand up because of the color of your skin, and then felt bad about it?
Okay, so I was born in another country, and as a child, I grew up in another country. So, in a way, I was a minority.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so in another country,
And it was Panama.
and Panama and Costa Rica.
Okay.
I don't remember much Panama. It was mostly Costa Rica that I remember. And yeah, I was the outsider. I was an American. Back then, it wasn't as there's a lot of times nowadays people are like, you rich, fat Americans, but then it kind of wasn't as much that way. Anyway, so yeah, I kind of had that minority feel, where I know that, but so I was living in another culture. Of course, I was born there, so I didn't know any better that was my culture. Mm-hmm. And then eventually, when I moved to America, you have that multicultural clash all of a sudden. As, a third culture kid is what my sister calls herself, and my dad and my brother, we're all third culture kids, which means sometimes we don't know what culture to belong to. We have a kind of a culture shock sometimes.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's kind of sort of the way I can kind of relate to the whole. But your question, though, was, have I felt like I had a leg up on things? Sadly, I can't answer that because almost all except for when I was in Latin America, everywhere I've lived, pretty much everyone's white. Mm-hmm. Like I actually was a person that I wanted a non-white friend, and I didn't have many.
Oh,
because only time I ever did was when I lived in Dallas for a little bit. That's the only time I ever had one. Had friends that were not white, but then when I moved to Eastern Washington, come on, I'm just gonna say it, we're almost all white there. So, pretty much, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that one. If I felt like I had a leg up.
How about you, Ryan?
I don't know, because I can't really think. Because I was born in Idaho, and I only was raised I was only there till I was about 5, like living there. So, I know that Idaho is declared as kind of the southern state, mm-hmm. but like, the more north you go, the worse it gets, and it's usually towards Hispanic people is mm-hmm. where I think that's where it's a lot. Racism is going towards it.
Washington's that way too. I forgot about that. Eastern Washington. Forgot about
that. But yeah, I mean, I wasn't raised to be that way to people, and so I guess I can thank my mom and dad for that, and that, I've very rarely had a white friend. Like my best friend in elementary school, Hispanic. Kai is my friend. He's Cambodian, and
Hawaiian.
And so it's like it's not really like I don't usually have a friend that's. I mean, right now you're the only white friend I have, so it's like I don't know. It's
no albino black guy.
Okay. But yeah, I don't know. It's. I mean, I think I've grown up into that. I mean, we are in the most. It's liberal, right? Like that's what that's called. Yeah, liberal state is probably Washington. It's hipsters and people, doing all that, and so it's like there's no. Like I don't think that racism is that big in Western Washington because I don't know about Eastern, but I mean I'm sure it's here, but it's probably not. Well, it's not the majority of people.
So interestingly enough, I had a very interesting run-in when I was in high school. We were at the Denny's in Lakewood, Washington, and I had a Caucasian friend, Craig, and a Jewish friend, Jeff. And we're sitting there at Denny's eating, and this other kid, I'm not going to say his name, he comes up and he hands a flyer to Craig. And he says, "You need to read this, brother," and he leaves. And we knew that he had associated himself with this organization called the American Front, which is a white supremacist group. And
I think they're one of the most deadly.
They are,
too.
Yeah. They're associated. They're kind of the militant leg of the Church of Jesus Christ, white Christian Aryan, based out of Hayden Lake, Idaho, which a lot of work has been done to dissolve that organization, and I don't know where exactly that's at right now. But he looked at the flyer, and it was white propaganda. It said "Whites must arm." It talked about how blacks and Jews were ruining our country, blah blah blah, and it basically said, "Take up arms and defend your race any way you can." And we were ticked, so we ran out of that restaurant. We were going to pummel them, and they got into their German-made Volkswagen Jetta and drove off.
Their shit.
and so,
Can't get into the people's car,
hey,
why
at least they were
not?
consistent.
Yeah.
So
They got in their Honda Civic
lower to the ground, you know, wearing their FUBU
with the
clothes.
spinners on it.
Exactly. Blasting some rap. But anyway, so they got into their Jetta and they drove off. And so we decided to do something about it. So we formed a nonprofit called STAR, Students to Abolish Racism. And we started, our aim was to educate people about racism. And when I went to Western Washington University in Bellingham, I took STAR with me and created an associated students group called STAR of WWU. And we went around to all the dorms and we played the movie at that time, Higher Learning, and we just had a discussion. And we asked people, you know, one of the questions we asked is, do you feel like racism is prevalent here? And what we found is most people kind of lived in this societal bubble when they were at university. And, you know, we talked about reality before, and the thing is their idea of what's real is, hey, we get along. We've got, you know, this percentage of black students, this percentage of Asian students, and it's just this melting pot. But in all reality, when you ask them, well, who do you associate with, though? We found that all the students kind of stuck to their little groups. And there was this, the Ethnic Student Center, which the idea there at the university was promote diversity. I disagreed with them. I said, you know, as the president of STAR, I'm not going to associate with the ESC, even though I was invited to join ESC, because I felt like they were promoting segregation. The African American students would get together once a week and do African American student stuff, and the Korean American Student Association would get together and do their thing, but rarely did they get everybody together and do something together, you know? So it was all about celebrating your own cultural diversity, which is not diversity. It's, you know, no different than white supremacism. And so the fact was there was actually a high number of racially motivated attacks and things that happened on campus people just weren't aware of because the news doesn't travel. So I got a question for you guys. Based on an article that I read that really kind of blew my mind, somebody like a very outspoken white supremacist, you know, hates all blacks, Jews, Asians, whatever, you see them out on the street spewing a bunch of hate to a specific group, and that group gets angry and turns violent. Would you do whatever in your power you could do to protect that person from getting mobbed to death?
So you're saying that the neo-Nazi
started it,
guy,
by the way.
The neo-Nazi guy,
he's the one that's attacking.
yeah. So
Okay.
let's say
By verbal only.
let's just say there's a group of, you know, just say black students.
Okay.
And he goes up and he gets in their face and he starts calling them the N-word and just starts, you know, all of you need to be put to death. Blah, blah, you guys are low. You're not even human. You're lower than low. And he starts basically a fight. And he's about to get mobbed to death. Would you do whatever in your power to protect him?
To protect the
The white
guy.
supremacist.
Well, I know my answer to that
This
would
is
be
a devil's advocate question, isn't it?
kind of in a way, but I know my answer to that would be that, well, whenever I see physical violence, my first reaction is actually I'm sick to my stomach. But I would never want to see anyone die. So if I could tell there's a lot of stuff going on that this guy is going to get mauled, I would probably try to intervene to at least save his butt. Now, would I do it immediately? The question is, does he deserve what he's
Yeah,
getting?
okay,
So should
okay.
he get a little bit of a dude? You should get a little bit of repercussion because you deserve you deserve to get hit, but not killed.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Because-
that makes me a judge.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Absolutely.
I don't know.
How about you?
Because I don't know.
Tough one, right?
It's a hard question because it's like, do you let this person? He's a human being. Get just absolutely thrashed and possibly just beaten the living tar out of, and
He's
probably
touching
not
blood.
walking away from that.
Yeah.
Or do you intervene and then make it kind of, because you don't want to come across as you're for that guy.
Yeah.
You want to come across
As a good
as,
Samaritan.
but the thing is immediately they're gonna think you're a part of him.
They-
So they're gonna probably kick the snot out of you.
Especially if it's being white,
It's,
probably.
I'll have to give you guys a link to this article, and I can't remember the gal's
Okay.
name. or
Link
what
in the
school it
description
was.
below too if you want to
Absolutely.
watch it.
But this actually happened in real life. There was a white supremacist, neo-Nazi, and there was a group of black college students, and he started spewing his hate, and they were going to mob him to death. And she, a black American, African American, whatever you want to call her, she threw herself on top of him and saved his life.
Yeah, no,
Put herself in harm's way. And it just blew my mind because honestly, when I read through the scriptures, when I read through the Bible, and we're told that the greatest commandment is to love the Lord your God with all of your heart, mind, soul, and strength. It says a second is like it, to love your neighbor as yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, how many of us really do that? How many of us really take that to heart? And when I read those scriptures and I read about love, love doesn't know any color. Jesus doesn't say, hey, just love all of the, people that look like you ethnically. No, he just says love everyone. Because those are the same people that he came to die for.
Yeah.
And so, biblically, that guy doesn't deserve the beating or death any more than we do.
Yeah,
you know?
and even biblically, Jesus wasn't white, so it's like
Absolutely.
Yeah, if you geographically want to place him somewhere, he's gonna be in Israel, and he's not gonna be white skinned and blonde hair, blue eyed, whatever you want to
And
call
so
it.
that's exactly what it comes down to. I think, Kent, you hit the nail on the head. Prejudice, when you look at, just by definition, it means that we've prejudged. And in that situation with that guy, the problem with you saying he deserves to get beat is you prejudged him.
I did.
Yeah.
And the
That's
only one who
dangerous.
deserves to, stand in judgment is, and judge others is God. And so really, we don't get to play God.
Yeah.
And so the way I read it, we
point.
need to love everybody, regardless of how much of a dirtbag they are.
Yeah.
And how much we feel they deserve it.
Now, for us being white people, though, if we would jump in front of the white supremacists, yeah, we would have been labeled.
Absolutely.
That's probably
and
true.
there's that prejudice coming from the other side then,
Here's another thought, too. Okay, this is one that this is more of a devil's advocate because it's something that I sometimes, I've thought before once. It's like, is this whole racism thing being overdone in a way like it's starting to become hard for being a white guy and being a male, being a white male? Is it hard for us now for just to get the leg up? For like I've always, one of the things I always teased about was like, if I were to ever do a scholarship out of school, it'd be for a white guy who's getting a C average. Because they don't have scholarships for that group. You could be any other color, you could be a straight A student, you could be female. They've got scholarships for you. But if you're a white guy who's just an average Joe, nothing for you.
I never got a scholarship for being a C average, but I wasn't a C average. I got some scholarship money because of my SAT scores. But I don't think it had anything to do with me being colored or otherwise. As a matter of fact, I remember when I took the SAT, I refused to answer that question. I just left it blank because you don't have to answer it.
Oh, nice.
But I think it is. I think things have gotten blown out of proportion to the point where we're hypersensitive about it, and the minute, the very second that there's a hint of racism, the race card gets played, and I see it played by white people. I see it played by black people. I see white people taking up arms for the plight of black people. That it's like, when did we all get together and make this grand request on our behalf that you guys need to stick up for us or something? I mean, you know what I mean? Like, there's this unwritten thing now where everybody's just so sensitive that you can't even to your best friend, if he's black, you can't walk up and be like, yo, what's up? My brother of another color. Whoa, I'm talking about his color now, okay?
Whoa.
Hey, I will tell you, my best friend Alan, he's white, and we've been best friends since the summer of second grade, and my family owned a restaurant and bar on the hilltop. And he walked in one day, and we hadn't seen each other in a while because we had both gone to different colleges, and he walked in one day and was so happy to see me. He said, hey, Rob, he just kind of threw out the N-word.
Oh, okay.
And I just saw all these heads kind of, and it was like, I might have even heard a record, a needle record. And it was like, okay, everybody's okay. He's with me. He's my best friend. It's all right. And I just thought, wow.
What college have you been going
What
to?
are they teaching you at the Coast Guard Academy? But, and that's the thing is, I think everybody needs to just tone it down a notch. And the bottom line is police shootings happen. Do we make a big deal out of it when a black cop shoots a black kid, or as big a deal when a black cop shoots a white kid? The media, I think, has a lot to do with it. They want to sensationalize stuff. They want to get ratings, and it's too bad because. Yeah. I was looking at photos of the kid, and there was one of him dressed up in kind of like hip hop attire, and so the media kind of labeled it gang attire. You know, he's
Wow.
got his hat on sideways, he's got his chains on and stuff, and then there's another image of him where he's dressed up like in the button-up shirt and all that, and it's like, well, which one are they going to show?
Yeah.
They're going to show
Yeah.
the kind of hip hop looking kid and make it a black versus white thing, and it's too bad. You know, it's too bad. The bottom line is there are shootings happening where cops are shooting people that are unarmed, regardless of their skin color, and we need to address that issue. Why are cops shooting people so quickly? Are they not trained enough? Are they trigger happy? Is it in the psych profile? Do we need to dig a little deeper? You know, I heard from a buddy that is trying to become a cop that they're kind of lowering the standards because fewer and fewer people meet the qualifications physically or mentally to become a police officer, and that concerns me.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's fun. I know it's a different subject, but one time I was at a McDonald's recently, and it was like these cops came in, and it's like it was a lady probably in her 60s, little pudgy. I'm like, how good of a cop would she be? Could she really actually run after a person?
Well, if you watch that YouTube video that's been circulating, as long as she's got a taser, she doesn't have to run.
Well, if the guy starts booking it, what is she gonna do?
Tase him.
Oh, I guess if she's in range, she could maybe tase him. If he's out of range,
25 feet, man, I tell you.
I'm just saying, it's
a
like,
long
man,
way.
it's like, yeah, it almost
Drop
That's
that
longer
guy
than my
flat,
Ethernet
flat on
cable.
his, have you seen that video?
sounds
No.
like military.
The guy's running from the cop. He's like, you can't do this, man. He's calling him a fat cop, and the cop was fat. So the cop pulls out his taser, gives the guy one warning, and the guy just falls flat on his face. he just does a like he planks in midair.
Okay. Well,
All right. Well,
this one got pretty deep in there.
Good topic.
but
Yeah.
I'm glad we talked about it.
Yeah.
I think we need to talk about it more, just in general in society.
Yeah.
Keep the dialogue going.
Yeah.
So thank you for watching. If you want to watch more, make sure you subscribe to hear GDoc United. Also go follow us on Twitter at GDoc United. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/GDoc United. And we'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Peace.